Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. And thank you for joining us for another conversation. Tonight, we're going to talk about something a little different, but still on the same topic at the same time. And to join me in the conversation is my wonderful, beautiful, amazing cousin, Shay. I'm so happy that she came onto the podcast. Hey, Shay.
Hey,
What's going on, cuzzo?
girl. Nothing is
Nothing.
going on.
Nothing at all.
Nothing.
I'm glad I got you on the podcast, even though I can't have you here. I have you still in the same space, that we can have a conversation digitally through laptops and cell phones and different things, even though it took us 4 different tries to get it right.
Literally.
As I explain to everyone all the time, this is a learning experience for myself. As I am growing the podcast, as you know, because you are always behind the scenes. So, a little bit about my cousin. She is one of my biggest supporters in every crazy idea I come up with over the years. And this is just the newest idea in years and years of me doing things that she has come along and go, okay, we'll do it this way, fix it this. So she keeps me in order. She straightens things out. She is the reason why PolariLife.com looks the way it looks. She is the reason why we're using Riverside apps to do our podcast. She is the reason why you're able to look at all of the seasons previously on Spotify right now. So first of all, I just want to let everybody know that I appreciate everything that you do every single day and every time that I may not understand something that you're saying, that you give me grace and mercy until I do understand it. So,
Oh, don't make me cry. Yes. Everybody. I am the behind the scenes person, or at least one of them. I mostly produce content. I produce merch. I do the websites. Website coming soon. Definitely made that design using AI. A little bald head side. Definitely. Um, Buy our merch. Get up on
yes,
that website,
yes,
PolariLife.com. But
that's
yeah,
right.
yeah. Tthanks for having me today. I'm
Yes,
usually a behind
yes.
the scenes person. This ain't really my thing, but
But we have some of the best conversations behind the scenes, and that's why I was like, we got to do a conversation together because our conversations Monday through Monday be
crazy.
insanely, yeah,
Super
they
crazy.
be on some next topic stuff,
Absolutely.
and I feel like some of that energy sometimes needs to be brought on screen so people can kind of get a more look into how I am with certain people. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
talk about it all the time. I'm a
Right.
different person depending on who it is. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Don't have to be so stuffy all the time.
right. I was gonna say
So
you
so
bring out my razzle
impersonal.
dazzle, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The razzle dazzle of it all.
Yeah, I
But
mean, I bring the razzle and the dazzle.
right, and it's always been that way. But we wanted to come tonight because I'm on the relationship theme, and we talk a lot about the different things that we both deal with in the dating scene as young women, singles, um, that are navigating our lives, uh, trying to find the right partners. But we also run across some people's crazy scenarios. So here's a little thing about the two of us. I keep up with all of the political news, world news, those type of things, the apocalypse is coming, it's war, whatever. Shay keeps up with all of the girl, did you hear the tea
Absolutely.
about this person, that person? So she often tells me what's going on in the entertainment industry that I don't stay up on. And what she was explaining to me earlier was about this site called Reddit. And I've heard of it, but I never actually read it. So tell people about like what Reddit really is.
So Reddit is the pits of hell on the internet, is what Reddit is. It literally is. But yeah. So as you said, I do keep up with politics, But
Yes.
because I have a little bit of the ADHD or whatever, I get hyper focused sometimes, and I have to pull away from the politics. So when I need to get back into it, you're usually my source for that. But yeah, I honestly I got into Reddit because I'm a big podcast listener.
Yeah.
And girl, it's just like some of the craziest scenarios in the world. I won't even mention the other podcasts that I listen to that kind of put me on to it because they ain't black, and we root for everyone black around here.
Right.
But yeah, like a lot of like terrible relationships end up on Reddit, and
I
it's like
mean, I've been hearing. So one of my favorite comedians is Josh Johnson. If you ever run across my podcast, Josh, I'm a big supporter.
that.
Uh, so one day he was doing one of his stand-ups. And I was watching online, and he's like, "Has anybody been on Reddit?" And I was like, "What the heck is Reddit?" And he started talking about some of the stuff he read. And he said, before you know it, you've dived in and you cannot get out of the nonsense that is Reddit, the stuff that people put on this site. So,
Yeah, yeah, and on top of that, you can tell like just by the story what color they are. Most of the
yeah,
time, they tell you what they are, like especially specifically if they're black, but you can tell because some of this stuff is
yeah.
just like, girl, we not. What are we doing here? What are we doing here? But I
I,
feel like
I do think that the difference, well, definitely the difference is I know with TikTok, you can look at the person and hear their whole story. So that kind of drags you in to listen to chapter
TikTok
one,
is more
chapter
like
two.
taxi cab confessionals.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, and we're all there for it. We're watching chapters of people confess their whole love lives on TikTok. So I'm guessing Reddit is somewhat like that. But you sent me something this evening, and I read it, and I'm like, there's a lot I can say about this. Um,
So, do you want to read it on here, or do you want to kind of just dive in, tell them the title, and then kind of
Yeah,
just
I will tell them the title. We got to tell the title, and,
okay?
and we'll work it from there. So when you find these things on Reddit, explain first, like how do you tell Reddit what topics you want to know about? Like how does it work?
So Reddit basically is like a threading community. Like think forums,
Okay.
if you will. Like back in the day, it would have been like the forums on Black Planet. But right, so it's like just having conversations. But with this, it's more like the forum has a title, and so it would be like subreddit, which is the forums, and in this one I use subreddit relationships or whatever. And then they'll give you your overall title, the person to tell you their story, and then under that you can have the conversation. And they can either respond to the conversation, or you can have a conversation amongst other Reddit members. The
Mm.
thing that makes Reddit so wild is the comments. Like the first of all, yes, because
Yeah.
oftentimes the story be crazy, but the comments is what make it like 1,000 times worse,
Yeah, and
basically.
that's
So,
what I heard. I was like, when Josh Johnson was talking about it, he was like, it's the comments that you really,
bro,
really dive into that you're like, what in the world? And I didn't get a chance to read all the comments on this topic that we're gonna discuss, but I'm sure you might have seen a couple of things that you want to pull.
um,
And I want you
actually,
to kind of give us some comments as well on this particular one.
actually, I didn't dive into the comments. I just read it because I wanted to kind of be fresh
Okay, you want to be
on,
organic about it.
yeah, because I was side note finishing my story, but we'll get to that. But yeah, I wanted to be fresh because I'm like, I kind of wanted to see how you reacted when we were like kind of talking about it because,
Right.
girl, it's
Okay. So let me tell y'all about this. It says 25-year-old female.
female, right?
How do I help my boyfriend, 28-year-old male?
Mhm.
understand what sharing a household actually means.
Yes.
So, do you want me to continue to read or do you want to read?
You can read it. Go ahead.
Okay. So, she tells us, she says, my boyfriend, 28 male, and I, 25 female, moved in together 5 months ago. We agreed to split the household responsibilities equally, but I've ended up doing most of the work, cleaning, cooking, making grocery lists, etc. He seems unaware of what it takes to maintain a home. And when I try to bring it up, he gets defensive or focuses on how others see him instead of my actual concerns. He promised to change, but I'm not sure how to make sure that happens without having to micromanage everything. I'm feeling frustrated, unseen, and tired. How do I help him truly understand and step up? Okay. So there's a lot I can say here. First of all, they're very young, but we were young.
Wait, before we get into that, instead of reading like everything, so everything that she wrote, because it's really long,
It's
maybe
long.
at the end we should read like, so I'm asking,
Okay.
how do I get him to really see what goes into managing a home? How do I get him to take initiative instead of waiting to be told? And how do I make sure change actually happens without becoming the manager of the household and of him? Any advice or shared experiences would mean a lot. Thank you. And that is when. So we can talk about it and then we can read some of the responses. I
Right.
think I think I mean we probably are gonna have similar responses to
Well, I'll
all of
say
her
this.
questions.
I'll
Yeah.
I'll say this to start. I was her age when I first. Well, I was about 27 when I first lived with a guy.
Uh-huh.
And what I would have done then, now that I know, send it back to his mama because that's where he came from.
Okay. Okay.
He's not ready. I mean, seriously. And, this is probably, I don't know if she mentions that. Is this his first time ever living on his own? Did you move in with a guy that never lived on his own? How did he survive before you? There's just so many questions that are not within the content of her script, whatever, her whole spill. But those were the questions that I asked myself. Like, okay, so who was he living with before you? Y'all not, 15, 16 years old. So he was living someplace before his 28-year-old behind moved in with you. And why did you agree to split some bills with someone if you don't know if they have the capacity to pay bills? You know what I mean? Like, was this his first chance at it? So I don't know. It's yeah,
So I think we might find a little bit more context in the comments and responses. But if we're just going strictly off of how we personally feel about it,
right.
I think that and then she doesn't mention any of like before, like the
Hmm.
before
Hmm.
they moved in together or like how he acted or activities or whatever. But a lot of this is macho man machismo as well as weaponizing competence.
Yeah,
So, or at least that's kind of what it looked like just from like bare minimum information. Because he
yeah.
really just kind of goes into like, oh, I love him and
Yeah, and she
how
was
can
like,
I?
he gets defensive.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm painting him as the bad guy. It's not a bad guy. He's grown. He's supposed to pay bills.
Well, I think
He's
that
supposed to help out around the house.
he's so concerned about how like other people perceive him that he's not at all concerned about how the person he lives with perceives him, and that is
Which
the
means he's
most
not mature.
perception. Absolutely. And then you know how it is, like I personally I don't have this story, so it's not like I can come from some sort of you know
Well, I know how this story goes.
yeah, I don't know how the story goes. Like, I'm not even gonna sit here and act like all of my relationship have been sunshine and roses, but on a couple of fronts. I like with my oldest daughter father, he basically got up every Sunday, he cleaned the whole house. Like I
Hmm.
never even had to I mean, I was also very young dealing with him, but
Right.
didn't have to deal with that. Then my oldest daughter father, cook plan, never really had to deal about it. I mean, do they have their faults? Of course, we could talk about that all day. But this particular thing about being in the house with somebody and, me bearing the brunt of the work, I just never had to deal with that
No,
particular
it's
story.
me. In my situation, here lives I've only lived with two men, and both of those men lives with other people and on their own before they got to me,
Uh-huh.
and there were still some issues there um, that yeah, just didn't work out quite well.
Yeah.
Um, but I will say, the first time I was very, very young, and had I thought about things a little bit more, I would not have moved in. Well, I would not have allowed a man to move in with me. Um,
100%.
circumstances, yeah, under whatever circumstances that was going on, and then to go through what she is speaking about. So what she's
Uh-huh.
speaking about speaks to me. It's hard. It's
Yeah.
hard to understand how to financially pay the bills, even though he had lived on his own. It was like he came to me and was like, uh, "It
I
you."
had to do nothing now.
Yeah, it was
And I,
like, "Whoa,
I
did
actually,
you live on your own before?"
yeah, I remember those frustrating moments because honestly, that very brief stint that you
Yeah,
was with that person,
yeah,
very brief.
yeah. Because
I
I didn't. So listen, whoever you are, what was it, 25 female, baby? I did not sit in that long, and I was
no,
27.
absolutely.
I don't do suffering no, you got to go.
25, yeah. I mean, and I look at
And I
25,
and I
baby.
and I thought I'll say I thought because now I'm 42. I thought I loved him too because I see you said you love him so much.
Uh-huh.
Trust me, honey. At 42, if you guys are not together, you will love some others before you get to that age. But 25,
Girl,
love yourself. How about
love
that?
come, yeah, yeah, love come and go so much. But let's look at some of these comments. Let's look at some
You
of these
tell me
comments.
what you think.
Yeah, I'm kind of Virtue Bird Day. Venture Bird Day.
Uh,
He has a great deal going. You work and he benefits. If he cared, he will figure it out. If, on the other hand, he likes the good life you are handing him, he will not change. Are we
no,
taking bets? He is 100% in charge of the choices he is making, including blaming you.
this is true.
I've
This is
known
true.
Matcha Magpie. I've known men like this. My father is one of them. Bottom line, he doesn't really want to put in work into changing, and he is fine with you being miserable and doing more than your share. That's what his actions are showing you. He doesn't respect you enough to drive or make real changes. And why should he? He has a sweet life. 5 months of getting effectively a free maid who will have sex with him. Sure, you can try couples therapy and see if that helps. But the reality is get comfortable with having to bear most of the load, or you need to be prepared to make an ultimatum to go through with it if he doesn't change. The decision is
She's raising her boy. That's just what it is.
facts.
She's
And
raising.
basically, everybody else is pretty much saying the same thing. And I don't really see any responses from her in the comments. Like she hasn't responded to anybody. But I mean, everybody basically,
And this one is a newer post as well. It's nothing
yeah, it's
old.
only like 10 hours old.
Oh,
So
well, she's still sleeping because she's tired from cooking and cleaning right now.
she been Cinderella all
Yeah,
day
yeah.
today.
She's been cooking and cleaning. She done worked the 9 to 5, cooked him dinner, cleaned his drawers, picked him up off the floor because he done left them there. So she'll get back to us in another 10 hours after she catches up.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
it's just unfortunate that she decided to move in with a guy that really was not mature enough to handle what it takes to live with someone. And it's hard to find that, to be able to be in a space with another individual. I say this all the time. When you get in relationships, you are still an individual first. And you have to learn how to be in a space and share your space and your time, your money, your energy, and everything with another human being and respect them in that space. but you still have to be an individual. She's not even getting a chance to be an individual right now because she's trying to maintain this space for someone that she loves. And what's going to happen is she's going to lose herself in that process if she doesn't figure out a way on the ultimatum. And
Uh,
whether or not, like the guy said, like whoever the comment said, is either he's going to fix what it is to keep what he has, or he's going to ride it until the wheels fall off.
And I think that is a people pleasing element to that as well.
Yeah.
I feel like she's probably, I mean, she didn't give us any background on herself, but she probably, being so young, still doesn't know how to say no, or doesn't understand that like no is a complete sentence. And, that's something that you kind of build up as you get older, you
Yeah.
know, being being
And
good with confrontational without it going too far.
if you say that, and you know how I deal with confrontation, I'm still
Uh-huh.
working on it. It takes time. It really does.
Uh-huh.
It's a hard journey to understand boundaries. We were talking about earlier, um, putting limitations and boundaries for people that come in your life. And I'm still working on that. I'm a work in progress every day. That and over the years, I've always been a softie, and I'm what they call what is it?
An empath?
No, not that. No, I'm that too.
Uh,
But
I ain't know where we was going with that.
uh, 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 I'm not aggressive, but
Passive, passive
passive.
aggressive.
I
Mm-hmm.
am passive aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't become aggressive until I absolutely have to. And
No,
I
you'll snark somebody to death until
right, right,
yes,
right.
yeah.
And
I
then
mean, I think
it comes out, and it's like,
all the
oh,
way.
you should have left her alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that I mean. mm, so that's why I'm kind of like a behind the scenes person, is because I'm aggressive.
You are,
Ain't no
yeah,
passive
yeah, you
about
passive
it.
about you.
Right. So I tend to stay behind the scenes just because I know kind of how I come across. But even me, like somebody who's always been extremely blunt, I had a period in my life where I was kind of like not necessarily a people pleaser, but someone who wasn't upfront with confrontation and kind of just took stuff on the chin until I couldn't take it anymore. Especially that young, like
Yeah,
you have to be very comfortable in your own skin before you feel like, I have the voice, or I have
she doesn't have the
anything.
voice.
She doesn't have her
She
voice yet.
has, yeah, she hasn't gone through enough, quite frankly, bullshit. I'm just gonna say it for what it is.
Probably in a
Fine.
romantic setting, yeah.
Yeah, no,
Because we
to
don't know her
find,
life.
yeah, she doesn't know her limits and her boundaries just yet.
Uh-huh.
She has to learn them, and that comes with with time and with experience. And that's unfortunate. When you're that young, you think you meet somebody, you love them, and it's going to be magical. But
And
music
not only that,
is never magical.
not just time and experience, it also comes with a sudden moment of like clarity, because we all have like that one time that somebody did something to us
Hmm.
and we be like, oh, I can't believe I was putting up with that. Like I literally saw on TikTok, and TikTok, that's my app. I just be
Yes, yeah.
scrolling that to go to sleep. But yeah, I was literally on TikTok, and there was a girl, and she was like, I'm crying over a nigga who don't do shit. And then she sat in her car for like 2 minutes and was like,
She had to think about it.
shit. And then it like clicked, like you
It
saw
clicked.
it real time click.
It clicked. It was real.
So
It was in real time.
in real time, like we all saw it. Like at first, I think we thought she was like joking, but like you can literally see the clarity. Like I'm literally crying over the who don't do shit. So she,
I've been
she's
there.
like, fuck it, and I think that everybody, not just women, but everybody have a moment like that. And you come out on the other side a little bit better. Some of us have it earlier than others. Some people be ditzy and somebody you can walk all over and soft well into
Right,
their old age.
right. And
So
then some people will pop back at you again, passive aggressive.
Uh-huh.
You think that you can manipulate or change things, and then when that aggressive side comes out, they're like, "Whoa, why are you doing this? Why are you acting this way? Because you've been stepping all over me this
Uh-huh.
whole time, thinking it was okay, and it's not." I
And then
hope
they
she
want to gaslight you into
point.
thinking that they the victim all of a sudden.
Yes, yes, and
Uh-huh.
then you become the villain. And I hope she
Uh-huh.
doesn't get to that point. I hope that this young lady um, sees the value of what she can offer herself, not just somebody, what she can offer herself. If you can do all of this on your own, really, what is he there for?
Facts.
I mean, you doing it on your own right now. So what do you need him for? Because he's a good leg? Honey, let me tell you something. There's plenty of good legs. There's plenty of them. And when you run out of these, there's plenty of batteries available as well.
You funny. Ma'am.
Yeah.
Let's further the conversation though. Like, let's kind of get off of her in this particular situation
Mhm.
and, maybe further it to like, what is the breaking point of, um, like, what is it that someone can do to you to kind of like make you break it off now
Right.
that you're older and you can kind of discern like, okay, that's this ain't that and that ain't gonna work out for me.
Okay. A breaking point for me is the constant and we talked about it. We've talked about it before. Um I can't take the negativity, the constant arguing, or the no solutions to the problems. I can't deal. If every day is a battle, then it's a battle I'm not going to win because I'm not there for it. We can try to figure it out, maybe 1 2 days, maybe 3 days, but if we still talking about it weeks, I am mentally drained, and I have checked out. I've checked. Now I might revisit it and have conversations about it to just see if I understood it correctly or if I should be feeling some kind of way. But I'm not going to stay in something that's going to be continuously a cycle of the same thing. If I'm not doing Groundhog Day in a relationship. Every day I'm not waking up to no bull crap.
Mm.
That's my point. Like I'm out. I check out
Now,
mentally, emotionally, physically. I check out.
I think that's all relationships, not just romantic though, because I mean, at some point, if my homegirl keeps talking about the same shit over and over again, I'm gonna be like, look, bitch, look. Either we gonna do something about it or we not. But what we not gonna do is keep talking about this same thing over and over again. But I think like, so I think what I'm kind of asking is like, you know how like when we were younger, the break-in point would be, or the point of disrespect would be cheating. Like
Oh, yeah, that's still a
everybody,
big thing for me. I you
everybody.
you know more than anybody, I don't come back from that. I
But
don't.
is it, so that's what I'm saying. Like, let's further the conversation. So is it the cheating or is it the way that the way that the cheating or the act of whatever it is has made you feel? Because for me, that's what it is. Because if I'm gonna be quite honest about like my breaking points and things that kind of make me feel a certain way, I'm only gonna be a little bit transparent and kind of how I operate. It's like I'm not really a person who thinks that monogamy is the end all be all way to kind of conduct yourself in a relationship.
Mhm.
However, with that being said, the older I get, the less flowy I am
Mhm.
about that, the more strict I am.
Be more
And
strict. Yeah.
I think it's because I think too many people are willing to do like boundary pushing
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
how far they can go before I'm like pulling back like, okay,
Mhm.
you've done a little bit too much. So I think that it's not so much the act, it's the fact that you
The
wanted to
emotional
do it.
distress that the act causes.
It's the fact that you wanted to do it,
Mhm.
whatever the curiosity was, to do it, to see how far you can get with it,
Mhm.
and the the effect on how it made me feel afterwards.
Yeah. And
I
I
think
think that's
that's what it is.
what it was for me. You know, I I I I don't talk about it much to everybody publicly, but your first time being in love, and it hurts when it hurts.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it never healed properly because I couldn't accept how it made me feel. Now here we are, 20 something years later,
Uh-huh.
and you know, he's one of my closest friends,
Right.
one of my closest confidants. But I had to go through a process of um, accepting what had happened uh, and moving on from it, living
Mm,
my own. At that point, I had to live my own life. But in the moment, it was like, yo, I
I
can't.
understand.
Yeah, I can't accept that you did this to me and how it makes me feel. Like you said, it wasn't just the act of it, it's how it made me feel. It makes you
Yeah.
feel like you don't measure up. What did you miss? What didn't you do? You have
Mhm.
all these different questions. What could I have done more of? Why me? All these different things. But really, quite frankly, it has nothing to do with you. It's just what people want to do. People gonna do what they want to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But the thing about it is, it's like, you know what is like funny, haha, and coincidentally,
Mhm.
um, we went through the same
Yeah.
direct thing at the same time,
At the same time.
with our quote unquote first loves. Like,
Mhm.
yours had a baby on you, and mine's had a baby on me, and
Mhm.
their kids are exactly the same age, and it
Yeah.
all was happening at the same time,
Yeah.
and we handled those things vastly different.
Well, I crashed out. I crashed out. I
Completely
crashed out.
crashed
He,
out
he, he
completely.
lucky. I love him dearly today, and he knows it.
Yeah,
He lucky I didn't bust every window in any car he
you
owned,
was
and
on your Jasmine
I,
Sullivan. I bust
yeah,
the windows out your car.
I was ready to stand tires. I was going up. Yeah, it's so funny. We kind of talked about it briefly. He was like, "I want to come and tell my side of the story." I said, "What's your side?" That I crashed out. I was in my 20s. Of course, I crashed out. You hurt me. Like, come on. Because now in my
Exactly.
40s, I'm like, dude, just going about your business. Now it's a different person. 20 something years ago, you get crashed out, Chrissy.
Yeah.
42, years old now, you get screw you, pay me. I got other things to do and worry about. This last relationship, it was kind of like, that's what you want to do. That's the path that you chose. You stick on it. Don't come back this way. And that's how it's been, these last 3 years. If that's what you wanted to do, that's fine. But you're not going to drag me for the emotional roller coaster along with this ride. Now, if you're done
Mhm.
with that situation, maybe, but probably not, because I don't forgive. I, I'm not gonna say I don't forgive. I never forget. I forgive, but the process that I don't forget makes it impossible for me to move on because I'll never
Yeah,
forget.
and I feel
I'm
like
thinking that, hey, you out here doing something that you ain't got business doing. So I'm not a
I
good
feel
candidate.
like
Real quick. So guys, I'm not a good candidate to cheat on because if you do it, I'm done. I don't go back.
so let's further with what you're not a good candidate for. I feel like because of that initial experience with the first, anytime it has happened
Goes right back.
thereafter, which was this last time,
Mm-hmm.
it it gets continuously triggers you, and the way that you
Gets you
handle it,
triggered.
it's like, but the thing about it, I will say this, you handled this time with way more grace, and you warned him, you
I
warned
won.
him.
I won.
So
I
yeah,
was like,
so
listen, I can be left eye in a minute, but I'm not that girl anymore.
fact,
So I'm gonna just let
fact.
you go, and I got other things to do. And it's so crazy because those other things that he led me to do are sitting behind me
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
sitting in front of me.
Right,
So with
right.
with with whatever pain I felt, I created things around me to
Took that
focus,
energy and focused on
to take
something
that
else.
energy
Absolutely.
to build off of it. So,
Uh,
opposed to 20 something years ago, I was crying my eyes out every single day. And, I felt like I had to pack it up and move, which is how I ended up where I'm at now, to restart my whole life because I didn't want anything to remember that process about, I think we all know at this point, anybody that's close to me know why I left where we were living at because I just
uh,
didn't want any type of connection to the past. So I wanted to start over.
and
Um,
I have my own comments on that, but I'm gonna leave that for not on camera. But I think that for me, like, and how I have always kind of handled something, and I'm not saying that this is the right way to do it either, is that kind of once that happened, I just became like a menace to society, like I just didn't care. Things just, things roll off my back. I literally I had somebody recently tell me like, look, can you please just like not hurt my feelings? Like, can you just do that? And I think that I've had I've had a moment, about a 10-year moment in my life with my youngest daughter father where I completely chilled out. Like, you
Mhm.
know, and as I've gotten older and I've gained more weight and, things not really looking the way it used to, I've also chilled out. But the times in between, a bitch was moving out in these streets. And I don't necessarily mean I was wilding in that way, but I just have this way about me where I'm just like, I don't care, baby. You're going to do
Right.
what you're going to do, and I'm going to do what
And I'm
I'm
gonna do
going
what
to
I'm
do.
gonna do. Right, right, right.
Absolutely. And let's see who wins.
Yeah.
Because it's always a competition. Let's see who wins. And I feel like as I am now older, I'm like, you know what, girl, get yourself together, because you're not gonna be young forever.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I'm starting to turn the corner on a lot of the
So,
stuff
so,
that.
so when you say that, let me ask this: what are you now looking for if you're looking into dating now that you've gotten past that whole space in your life? Like, what do you want now?
So I'm not okay. I'm not actively looking for anything. If something happens, it kind of happens or whatever.
Okay.
But I feel like now I'm more of like, I'm more on my like peace and ease, and I need life to feel a certain kind of way, and I'm like more into like upfront communication. And I am like, I know a lot of men that's like, if I tell a woman how I really feel, I'm not gonna get the places that I want to get with her specifically. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of men feel that way, but I really do feel like, for me, not every woman, because I don't feel that way about every woman. I think that some women should be lied to. I do.
Yeah.
I hate to say that. I lied to a couple people initially, just initially, just so we don't have no problems in the beginning.
Yeah.
But
And
I,
see, and you know me, I've been told I tell too much up front.
yeah,
Like,
no, that's what
don't
I
do.
told you.
Yeah, and I'll be like, no, like, look, this is what it is. This is where I'm at. You
No.
can't get in this, then go. And y'all be like, don't just. They ain't
Yeah.
gonna know all
You ain't
that. I'm like,
gotta know
no,
all your business. You
they
gotta
need
lie a
to
little bit in the beginning, but and I don't mean overt lies. I just mean lie by omission. Some stuff you just don't say. You know what I'm saying? If it comes out, guess what? My bad. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just at a point in my life where I'm like, you know, I wanna first of all like somebody. I haven't liked somebody in a long
That's a
time.
hard space to get in, man.
It
Like,
is
I get
because I feel
people,
like
it, it,
you know
it's just nasty out here to be able
I
to like
feel like you
people.
have to like your partner more after you've fallen in love with them than anything. You know what I'm saying? So I would like them first. It's hard to like somebody. There's a lot of things out here, but you know what? Once I do get to that point, I would like to just get to that point first. You know what I'm saying? Like just get to like, and then I can worry about what happens
What
after
happens
that.
after that?
Then
I feel
yeah,
you. I feel you. I mean, I'm in the same space right now. I have a lot of revisiting of different things, and that's another conversation for another podcast. But
100%.
Um, but I really want something that is organic, real, honest, upfront. Even if it hurts sometimes, but that it doesn't hurt to the point where I'm second guessing why the heck did I choose you? Like I don't want to be. It can hurt, but it can't hurt where I'm like I don't know why I thought this was going to even exist. So
Yeah.
I'm in a space where I just want someone. You know, I'm I'm always wanting someone that I can bring to this family. You know
Uh-huh.
how we are as a family, how close we are, and it has to be somebody that's gonna who's butter and jelly with us, like seriously,
Uh-huh.
because my family is very important to me.
Uh-huh.
And, I thought I had that in the last go round, because he was all intertwined, and
Uh-huh.
it didn't work for whatever its reason. And now here I am again trying to weed out what can be sitting at my dining room table for Thanksgiving. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, if you want to get, serious, I was trying to keep it light. I was trying to keep it light over here. But I mean, if you want to keep it serious, I mean, the root of it is that in about another 5 years, the two of us will be the matriarchs of our family,
yeah, yeah,
regardless of who is older. Like, we'll be the leaders, and
yeah.
I don't know if I'm necessarily looking for someone who meshes completely, because look at us.
There's certain people in this family that ain't nobody
Yeah,
going.
no, no.
Yeah,
But I just think that, I want to be a little bit selfish, and I I'll share this part of my life sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, as long as he is able to be around everyone
when
and
it's necessary,
when it's
right?
necessary, that's fine. I just don't know if I'm at a point in my life where fully immerse someone the way that we have done in the past.
In the past,
Because
yeah.
exactly, because I feel like not necessarily like it has to be two
I,
separate
I feel
things.
like the last person that really, really stuck with this family when it comes to me dating, and you know who it is, it was
Yeah,
John.
yeah.
You know, and I talk about him all the time, so I don't, but it was him. He got into this family to the point I didn't even have to be around for him to just be in
I
you know
mean, you
what I
know who
mean?
mine was. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
but
yeah.
I just feel like that's not necessary anymore. And I feel like this. If I think that I will leave that decision up to whoever that person is. If
Yeah.
you show me off the break that you can't like coexist with the people that are important to me, then you need to leave anyway.
That
But
there. Yeah.
yeah,
And
but
that's
I mean,
that's all I want. I want to be able to coexist because like you said, in another 5 years, the kids they'll be gone in less than five, but
uh-huh,
we'll be gone, we'll be restarting our life, but we'll still be young enough
uh-huh,
to have fun. And I do want to have a selfish relationship where I'm not sharing this person with any and everybody. I want to just be us and travel and explore and
right,
figure out where we're going and
right.
see
And then
everybody.
ease them into like the role of like, hey,
So back to Reddit girl, you need to take a pause. Maybe take a pause. Send him back to his mama because that's where he came from.
yeah,
Maybe tell her to get him to pay some bills. So that's one of the things you first need to look at when you're dating somebody. Where are they coming from? What is their background? What do they know how to do and what they don't know how to do? Because if
uh-huh,
you plan on living with that person, you're gonna get everything that comes with them. You're getting everything that comes with them.
yeah,
So if they are living at home and they tell, oh, I don't pay no bills here, then why the hell would you move in with them? Because they ain't paying no bills when they was before living with you. They don't know how to pay bills.
yeah. I
You
mean, we
know?
definitely don't ask enough questions. I
No,
mean, we don't.
ask some questions. It's okay if you want to live with one another, if you want to build a life or whatever, but ask some questions. Get to know people for who they are.
I mean,
Yeah,
honestly, if we want to just like talk about being 25, a lot of them just living off of ramen noodles and vibes for real. Like, I mean, it
Well,
just
wait a
is
minute.
what
We
it
didn't
is.
have ramen noodles. We was living off of my greens.
Look,
My greens, right? Like, wait a minute.
look,
We making greens.
like we didn't have to. We didn't have to. And I'm not saying that all 25-year-olds are the
Yeah,
same.
yeah. I was just, yeah.
I'm
I was
just
gonna
saying,
say.
like, they really are living off of vibes. I mean,
I think we had fun at 20. I had, like, again, I had just gotten here in North Carolina, but I think we had fun in our 20s, man. I remember some of the stuff
so
that we
much.
did, and I sit back and go, oh man, I missed that time. I missed that
Uh-huh.
time. We had
That
fun.
honestly, our 20s, honestly, into to 40s, I've had a blast, and I'm writing a book about it, by the way.
Yes, yes, yes.
But yeah, we can talk about that in a second. But yeah, I'm like, I mean, we kind of just it just you float into from situation to situation, and you know what I'm saying, because you floated there, you don't necessarily know how to put the brakes on it.
Yeah.
So it's
And it,
like, I mean, you figure it out. And then once you are old enough to say, you know what, I'm going to start floating into stuff. I'm going to start falling into things. I'm going to start making
the
decisions and
right
walk
decision.
places, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah.
then then you can, have a healthier relationship with other people, as well as yourself, as well as whatever life is going to
Well, I will
start looking
say
like.
that, life, it's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get, but
Okay, Forrest.
right. It's a teacher. You learn the lessons as you go. And with that being said, I want us to take a moment to pause to, talk about any of our sponsors that are going to be on a show. If you want to become a sponsor for the Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast, reach out to us and we will, connect with you and get you where you need to be. Where you're getting views, we're getting views, we're helping each other out because this is a community where I want to build with people that are in the same space that I am as an entrepreneur. We're not a big business, but we are a business and we're a growing business. And there are other business that are out there that want to grow as well. So please reach out to us, whether it be through YouTube, through Spotify, through Instagram, Facebook. You can find us everywhere. And just let us know if you want to be a sponsor and be part of this whole project of the podcast as it grows. I'm still learning and loving every part of it as I learn how to build a podcast. I have books and microphones and different things, and I'm just going to get better. But just give me time because I'm growing just like you are. So again, reach out to us so that you can be a sponsor on the Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. So with that, I'm going to return back to the wonderful conversation that I've been having with my cousin because me and her can talk for hours upon hours. But I want to talk a little bit more about where she is in her journey of the entrepreneur spirit. So tell people like where you are, what you're working on right now, and what led you to this point.
So I'm a reluctant entrepreneur. I'm one that was pushed out into it. I've kind of always done things behind the scenes, makeup artistry, creative things, websites, things of that nature. Speaking of being an entrepreneur, you didn't put out a email address. If you want to get in contact with us, polaritylife@gmail.com.
Yes, yes.
Back to our show. It's like,
We
but
see that's why she works with me.
absolutely, absolutely. But I've been a reluctant entrepreneur. I never wanted to be the person that's like out in front promoting myself. That's probably the biggest thing that I have an issue with. Full of talent, can braid hair, like I said, do makeup, learn how to do makeup so we wouldn't suffer like the generations before us. And and just kind of getting all of my creative talents like out there. Like, I don't want to do everything and be the master of none and all that other stuff, but the stuff I'm good at, I'm really good at, planning parties or designing parties and things of that nature. But right now, about a year ago, I threw an idea past my best friend, and I had been thinking about it for a really long time. Actually, I've probably been thinking about it since we were like no, 25, 26 years old.
Hmm.
Because back then we were experiencing some wild shit. I mean, if you want to be honest, we were experiencing some wild shit.
Yeah, yeah.
And I hadn't quite amped up the crazy yet, even though I was like, I had a kid already. I was the second out the group to have a kid. But it was kind of like Tish was the first.
Hmm.
And it was kind of like when I had a baby, things kind of didn't slow down like they were supposed to, like things didn't slow down. So
No,
it
no,
was
no.
like, shit just kept going and it kept going. And I was like, man, one day I'm going to write a book about this. And then like people always say that. And it's like, they be like, girl, your life wasn't that crazy. And you be like, bitch, yes, it was.
That's
And then
right.
like talking to my best friend, talking to Tay, and me and her, we used to just talk about all the stuff we used to get ourselves into all the time. And now that we're older and we're not as open about the stuff we ended up in,
Right,
and
right.
then when it comes out, like it could come out in like a random conversation. Be like, oh yeah, I did that. I was in Dubai. I was this, and that. Not I wasn't in Dubai, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? Like things that may have happened in the past. I'm like, you know what? I've been talking about this basically my whole life. I'm just gonna
Right,
do it.
right.
So, I do have a working title for the book, but in the meantime, writing the book is boring. It's boring, and I don't think I knew how boring writing a book was because I'm a big reader.
Yeah.
So I'm working on three things really, but two things right now. So I'm still actively working on the book.
Okay. Okay.
I'm hoping that the book will bring itself together as I get my notes and stuff together. But currently, I'm working on a short story. I'm posting it on Wattpad.com. My name is Shay. You can look it up under Shay. It's called Moonlight Fairy. It's fan fiction.
I
Fan
read the
fiction.
first, and I was captivated by the way that you wrote it. It's so
Yeah.
descriptive, very descriptive. You
Yeah,
know,
so
you
it's
can
called
imagine.
Moonlight Fairy and it's fan fiction. And unlike other fan fiction, which is like based on like a show or a band or something, I'm kind of going the route of fan fiction based on some of our favorite songs. The book is inspired by Janae Aiko's song Pussy Fairy.
Okay.
And as of 20 minutes before this call, I'm finished the entire short story.
Oh,
So
wonderful.
I will be putting out the rest of the chapters on Wattpad.com. Over the next couple of
You
days.
got the exclusive, y'all.
Yep, this is exclusive. So that's the first thing I'm working on. The second thing I'm gonna be working on is a book club because as you know, I'm a big reader as well as I'm trying to learn how to write.
Hmm.
Um I'm gonna try to do TikTok to promote the book club, but it's on Discord. The title of the book club is Read Between the Wines because, ma'am, you have a wine brand, so I'll be promoting that as well. And I'm trying to, just get some engagement for people in their 30s and 40s. Right now we're going through so much stuff politically,
Oh, yeah.
and
It helps
it
take our
helps.
minds away.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I feel like we do deserve a distraction from like all the stuff that we're kind of going through. And I
Absolutely.
mean, that's always been my refuge is to read. I remember back in the day, my cousin used to be like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm reading a book." She like, "Bitch, we're going to the club. Clothes on." And I'm like, I would
That
it,
wasn't me,
yeah.
by the way.
No, not you, not you. Not you. You wasn't that bad of an
No,
influence. I mean,
no.
it depends. Was we
It
in New
depends.
Jersey? Was
Right.
we here? Like, it
It
depends.
depends on what it was. It depends.
Depends on when it was.
I would throw a party in a minute though.
With all the exes, by the way. Anyway, so anyway, but yeah, so like I'm kind of working on like getting these short stories out. I have a lot of author friends, so I would love to like read their books and introduce them to the book club once I get it popping. I literally just started. It's on Discord. I haven't even set up the threads yet. So it's a working idea. I'm trying to get it out there. I might have you promote
Can
it
you
for me.
spell out that website for people so they can type it?
Discord.com, discord.com.
Mhm.
It's an app, you have to download it.
Mhm.
A lot of people use Discord. But I plan on rolling it out, doing something like cute and special. Like I said, I'm real creative. I do all like the little digital things. So I want to do like a little
Yeah,
journal or something, something cute for everybody. But if they want to join that, they can always reach out to me on polaritylife@gmail.com.
that's right.
My TikTok is what's my TikTok?
What is TikTok? We both said it. What is your TikTok? I don't know. I just know how to
It's
find you on there.
Papers and Peas, which is my event design company.
Yes, 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 yes.
Event design company, which is Papers and Peace. But I'll be doing other stuff underneath of that. You can also reach me through Chrissy's TikTok. I'm on the back end of that as well.
Yeah.
That's
I don't,
Polari
yeah,
with
she
Chrissy.
easy. Yeah.
You
Just know, don't slip anything in my DMs on
Yeah,
TikTok.
I see everything on the end of on the back of the TikTok. Honestly, you can reach me on Chrissy's Facebook, her Instagram. You can reach me anywhere.
Yeah.
If you would like to join, I will start posting things about the book club. I will start posting like book talks and commentaries and promoting stuff on all things wine, wealth, and tea, plus plus my own social, so we can just get it out there.
And that's what we want to create. We want to create a
Create a
space on the Wine Wealth and Tea where we are almost like a segue for entrepreneurs to really, really branch off and do their own thing. Where if you're on the podcast, you can find other entrepreneurs and their products in whatever it is that they're into that you may be interested on just by clicking with us. You know,
Absolutely,
that's how
absolutely,
you build community. And that's, I really
100%.
believe on that. Like, I can't do this without the help of others.
Uh-huh.
And I want to help other people because I know how hard it can be to do this on your
Exactly.
own. I
Exactly.
have been creating since I was a teenager. We
Uh-huh.
remember one time we created a jewelry site,
Uh-huh.
books and different things and poetry. And I used to sell frames of poetry for restaurants and the different things. I've done it all. So now we're at a space now where I know how hard it is and what it can take. And I haven't gotten it all 100 yet. But if I can help somebody, I can help you. That's just it.
Absolutely. So that's
So,
kind of where I'm at with it. I'm looking for,
yeah, I'm
you
very,
know,
very proud of you because, like you said,
thank you.
you are a procrastinator of an entrepreneur. You like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Let me help this person out.
Absolutely.
Shay would rather help you out than to help herself. And she has some great ideas and great projects. And I'm
Absolutely.
just glad to hear that she's willing and ready to work on her own space.
Yeah. And my website is coming soon, hopefully, on the later half of the year. But for right now, you can catch me at polaritylife.com, buy the merch, look at
Yeah.
the shows,
Yeah.
join in the conversation. Eventually, we'll have other facets of conversation for people to kind of join in,
We
reach
actually
out
are
to
working
us.
on right now where there is going to be a form that's going to come out where if you want to be a part of the conversations, you just send them, fill out the form. It's a Google Docs form, and you answer those questions, and we'll get back to you and see if we can set something up if it fits into what we're trying to do here. So that'll come out soon, hopefully, probably by the time this recording is aired.
Mhm.
I really, really have enjoyed our conversation this evening, Cuzzo. I will see you soon. And it's always good to talk about some of the crazy and some of the like that. We got to do more Reddits. That's gonna be our thing. You
All
find
right.
and you come on and we talk about them because that's the space that you know more about than I do. Because
Yeah,
I
don't use me for my Reddit knowledge.
so you your Reddit number. Absolutely, I am.
Yeah, I got you though. I got you. Yeah. I mean, we'll
Yeah,
come
yeah.
back. We'll give them some more crazy,
Crazy. Yeah, we're gonna find some crazy stuff. And
we'll
if
find
you
some more
have
crazy.
something that you know about on Reddit that you want us to discuss, let us know. And we'll
Reach
both dive
out.
into it. Yeah,
Reach
absolutely.
out. polaritylife@gmail.com,
There you go.
polaritylife.com. And See you later.
That's it. That's it. This is the Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast. And I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. Make sure that you follow us, share us, like us on YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're all over the place. If we're
All the
not Wine,
things.
Wealth, and Tea, we're the Polari with Chrissy or Polari Life. You can find us again, like she said, you can email us at polarilife@gmail.com and find out more information. Our site is constantly changing to whatever Shay wants it to be at that time. I just go along with the flow as long as she's creating. So I hope you've enjoyed this conversation again tonight. And make sure you tune in for others or go back to other seasons and see what we've talked about in the past. You might enjoy it. I thank you again for your time, and we'll have another conversation soon. See you. Bye.
Peace.
Wine on the table, tea in the cup.
This segment of Wine, Wealth, and Tea podcast was sponsored by Healing While Living. You can find all of our natural products at www.healingwhileliving.com. And don't forget, remove the weight of the world and start healing.